Yeah, hello and welcome everyone back to the channel. So we're going to be taking a look today at the Safeguard Spec Ops missions, these being the classic Spec Ops missions in Modern Warfare. And we'll start off with the first one, of course, and that being Safeguard. I would say this is arguably the hardest one. The mission's difficult enough, but the time they give you to complete it for 3 stars is pretty aggravating, actually. Um, it's kind of hard to complete it unless you know what you need to really focus on. And I'll try to help you guys out as much as I can here. This mission is definitely one of the harder ones. You'll see here there's some Molotovs. There's also Claymores over here on the building, under the building we're going to be camping. And then also the stems right here. So every wave, or at least every wave at the end of it, when it's actually safe, they do drop care packages. So they'll give you a minigun, and they'll also give you a sentry gun. If you're playing solo, you'll get one or the other. If you're playing 4 players, I think you might get a third thing, you might not. I don't remember. It's been a while since I was trying to attempt it with 4 people. Yeah, we're basically this building here that we're camping on, we're really just buying time until the enemies start coming in on the trucks. My teammates are going to start taking them out. Meanwhile, I'm going to be using the minigun when they get closer. The big thing is on the first wave and the third wave, or also the smoke wave. Those are the parts of the level that you really want to try to rush through, because those are the more kind of difficult ones. The first one's not too difficult. It's just the fact that there's a lot of enemies that all come in on the trucks and everything, and then they start coming from the hills behind and everything like that. So there is a big problem when it comes to just overwhelming enemies, and they'll try to rush up behind you. As you'll see, I'll start getting punched by a guy here in a minute or so. But they do like to come up behind that ladder. And there is, I should also mention, as far as the ladder goes, right here, there is a ladder there, and there's also the stairs to the side of me. And then, obviously, there's a plank that goes to the other building, and there's a ladder over there, and stairs over there. So, the enemies do tend to really like to come up this set of stairs that I'm sitting on right now, but it is a great spot to take cover while your teammates either shoot behind you or just protect you while you're on the stairs, because there is the stairs is a great vantage point. You can see kind of up to the hill behind you, and also down to where the enemies are spawning. It's really powerful little choke point to be able to see where everyone's coming from. As far as this part of the mission here, we're now onto the second wave. You will get a precision airstrike and a cluster strike. And from getting those, the best thing to do is I normally wait till the biggest majority of the enemies actually hit the trucks up top, right as they're about to get out and start kind of coming and attacking you on the when they jump down off the sand here. Your best bet for that really is to place the precision airstrike onto the largest group of enemies and kind of see if you can get it to angle perfectly. And the cluster strike would just be to kind of fill in that last gap of not attacked enemies groupage. So, but yeah, it's not. I could have placed these a lot better, honestly, and probably would have saved us even more time. But you'll see at the end of the mission, our time was actually pretty good compared to the fact that every other attempt did not go so well. And I actually have a blooper saved at the end here where where the time was not in our favor, clearly. We were doing really good, and then we messed up a little bit at the end. But I'll leave that in the video so you guys can check that out a little bit later on. As far as this part here goes, once again, you're just kind of having people sit up front, and also another person can sit in the back building there. And the third person is just kind of sitting there covering the front and to the right, while the other person is sitting on the stairs. So as far as this whole strategy here goes, it's really good because we honestly mess around with a lot of different strategies, and this one's probably the best because it actually makes all the enemies kind of come straight up from where they're spawning and go straight to you. So, but at the same time, obviously that means there's a lot of enemies that are going after you. So, yeah, you'll see here the smoke spawns, and we start to have the real annoyance of the mission. So I do also want to warn the enemies like to either throw Molotovs or double Semtex grenades. Now the double Semtexes, they normally won't kill you. However, they will if you're damaged by any means. You know, you will tend to get downed, as my teammate shows here. It is just a rather hard mission compared to the others. So, yeah, I suppose there's really nothing else to say except for using that sentry gun now, while you can't really see the enemies, is really helpful because obviously the machine can see them, and you know you can pick off whatever you can see, and it does help a lot in hurrying up the mission. So I will come back whenever we get to the fourth wave and the final wave, and then just say a little bit of stuff before the last clip plays, and then I'll come back at the end of the video. Alright guys, be back in a bit. Alright, so now that we're actually here taking a look at the end of the wave, I figured it would be important to mention, near the end of each wave, you're going to want to jump down, except for when the smoke starts, because the smoke actually starts in the middle of a wave. But when the smoke is ending, you're going to want to jump down and take out as many guys as possible, because they will tend to stay back, because obviously they're the end of the wave, so they don't exactly want to get taken out. And whenever you take out everyone, or at least the big majority of all the enemies, then that's when the announcer will say, like, okay, they're falling back, and that's when you know that that wave's done. So now we're on to the fun part here. That being the gunship, chopper gunner, and you can either get a precision airstrike or a cluster strike. You'll see here I got the cluster strike. So it doesn't matter who grabs the cluster strike, but the chopper gunner and gunship, I highly recommend only one person grabs it. That's because the other 3 people, or 2 people in this case, I'm not playing with a 4th person, the other 2 people can actually cover you, and you'll see my teammates are back there taking out the mortars right now. You want to pop the chopper gunner and the gunship pretty early, that way you can try to take out all the trucks coming in with the enemies. I've already been able to actually take out all the enemies and get the actual Expo chopper to show up in the middle of me using the chopper gunner. So if you can get it well, if you can get it timed well, then that's he'll definitely save you a lot of time. Me personally, I do not get it that well timed in this section, and my teammates actually go down, which I have to revive. But it's not too big of a deal because, as you'll see at the end of the clip, we're still pretty good on time. But yeah, the really majority of the chopper gunner and the gunship, the only really purpose of it is to clear out as much guys as possible with it while you have access to it. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll actually be able to just go straight to the exfil, like I said. Other times you'll have to still clear out a few more guys before the helicopter shows up and picks you up. But as far as that goes, the only thing you really have to worry about is the last part, is that the suicide bombers will actually rush you, where you don't have to deal with them in the rest of this mission. You do have to deal with them in this last part of Wave 4. So also it's important that I mention that the chopper gunner and gunship user is completely invulnerable to damage while they're inside the tablet controlling the kill streak. So that is quite important. As you'll see, obviously, I wouldn't be able to do all this if while my teammates were downed if I was able to get killed. So, but I think that's the majority of what I have to say, I suppose, for right now. Yeah, the cluster strike also I should mention is I use that to actually help us escape once the helicopter gets here. There will be enemies that come around the side. Right here, you can see that there's a body right there. There's also, when the Exfil chopper shows up, they will rush from our left, which right here they do, and then also across from this pink house right here. They'll try to take us out. So for right now, I think I'm just gonna let the rest of the clip play, and then also let the safeguard blooper that I had play, and then I'll pop back in at the very end to say my goodbyes. All right. Alright, well thank you guys for coming around to the channel, and see you around.